Welcome back to my channel. My name is Diana, and today I wanted to make a quick video on what it's like to date each of the zodiac signs. The other day, actually yesterday, I was thinking about my experiences in dating, whether it's a relationship, a hookup, or just like a one-time date, and I pretty much have done something or had a relationship with each of the zodiac signs, or I've dated, you know, Aries through Pisces. So I wanted to give you guys a little backstory on what happened during each date that I've gone on, and hopefully you guys can relate if you guys are dating, like if you're dating an Aries man or a Taurus man or a Gemini man, you guys can get something out of it. And I'll try to give my advice on what those men need to see if they're people that you're interested in. Obviously there's a lot more to your chart. I mean, I've dated like 3 different Cancer guys, and they all were slightly different because they all had different rising signs, different moon signs, so they had a lot of that going on. But nonetheless, I just hope that this video teaches you something and it's kind of like fun and entertaining. And sorry if I sound super stuffy, I'm like battling a sinus infection right now, but yeah, I wanted to sit down and make this quick video. So let's start with Aries. Aries, so I dated an Aries when I was like 21 a few years ago, and I met him in Rocky Point, so it was one of my crazy spring break adventures, and I was just out there having a good time, living my best life, but I really just wanted attention, you know, because I'm a Moon in Leo, we need attention. So I was just chilling there with my drink, you know, and then some guy comes up to me. It was this guy, and he just kept looking at me. And so anyways, long story short, I was bored, so I ended up making out with him in Rocky Point, and it ended up he was actually a cop in the United States, so he was there for spring break. I don't know why, but that's very fitting because Aries men want to be protectors, they're defenders, and he was a gym rat too, so that was very Aries. Anyways, we talked a little bit more, we made out some more, he bought me a drink, whatever. But then I kind of got bored of him because I wanted to go back and party with my friends, you know, I just wanted attention for the time being. So I gave him my number, and then my friend picked me up outside of the bar that I was at. And then when I got the text message like, oh, I'm here, come out, I'm just like, bye, and I ran as fast as I could out of the bar, and he chased after me. And that was very fitting too, because Aries loves a good chase. I didn't even give him a hug, and he chased me all the way to the car, and I just left, but he still texted me. And then it turns out that his ex-girlfriend was really pretty, and she kind of looked like me, but she was like prettier than me. And what was I gonna say? So he had a type, but she was like a gym rat, and I'm not a gym rat. So I think he just liked me maybe because I have an Aries rising. And yeah, Aries definitely needs somebody that they can like work out with. And I mean, I can do that, but I'm not about to show off how much I can bench or how much I can squat. And he was like that type of guy, so that was kind of like a turn off for me, and so then I stopped dating him. So next, my Taurus guy. So for the Taurus guy that I dated, what I will say is that my experience with him was very possessive and materialistic. At first, I was really attracted to this guy because on our first date, we went to a restaurant. He started talking to me in a very calming voice, and Taurus men have that. It's almost like you get hypnotized by their voice or by their presence because you feel very calm and serene around them. But that's just their cover at first, because then you see this other side to them that can be very materialistic. He was all about the BMWs and the cars and buy nice and not twice. And Taurus people are definitely, he was a very stubborn person, and it kind of got boring. So baby daddy's a Gemini, and he is interesting because Gemini men love to play games. At the beginning of the relationship, I I was very intrigued by his intelligence and his way with words. But then, you know, Gemini men, their soft spot or their weak spot is their intelligence. As soon as you realize that their intelligence is just surface level and you realize that there's not that much more to them, then or that, you know, like they need to like still reach the level of mastery, then they kind of get offended once you start realizing why, because I cannot stimulate his mind enough. So a Gemini man is gonna really want an entertaining verbally woman, and I don't know, I don't have that in me, I guess. But anyways, Gemini men are also very notorious for being players or playing games, and they like to play games because they're the little tricksters, and he did just that. So one day he loved me and he charmed me, and the next day he didn't, and he was cold and mean. So they kind of have multiple personalities and they change their mind. Like if they say something, they literally will tell you that they do not remember them saying that, and I think I can believe them because it's probably one of their other personalities that said something. Now my Cancer. I've dated a lot of Cancer guys, and I've always had a thing for Cancer men because I just think that they're so, like, they're teddy bears, they're protective, and they're sweet. Of course, not all of them. Some of them have a lot of emotional issues. The first Cancer guy I talked to, I met in high school actually, and we always kind of had this thing. We reconnected a couple years after high school through POF or something, and he was the sweetest. He wanted to take me under the stars and in the back of his truck. And I was like, it was kind of psychotic because I'm Scorpio and mine goes there. And he was just really sweet, but he was too sweet to the point that it was too much for me, so I stopped talking to him. But now he's in the Navy, and he's a really good guy. He's really smart. The other thing is, the other Cancer I dated, I think, was like a psychopath, because we were gonna hook up, but we didn't, because we got to that point in our making out session where he was like choking me, and I was supposed to be maybe sexy for him, but I think there was a lot of anger issues that I felt, or passive aggressive issues. I don't know what I felt, but it was scary. So yeah, and he was very patriotic about his the city that he was from in Mexico. He always like wanted to show that city off on his Instagram, or you know, and he was very like into soccer, so super Mexican. He was really funny though, and I think Cancer men are really funny because they use that to deflect from their true emotions, right? So that people don't really see what's beneath that shell. But yeah, he was a really funny guy. He was just low-key had some issues, and then I think he was a player, so I stopped talking to him. Or maybe he stopped talking to me, I don't know. And then the other Cancer guy that I used to talk to, I would sneak into my room, and yeah, and he was weird too. Like he was very emotionally closed off. That's what I will tell you about Cancer men. They can be very emotionally closed off, but depending on other things in their chart, they are deflecting, or they are trying to get into your feelings. So that's what I will say about that. And then my Leo guy. So I dated a Moon in Leo. I went on a couple of dates with him, and you know, he was really sweet, very respectful, had a great smile. There was a lot of warmth with Leo. That Leo guy, he had a lot of warmth. Like he just looked very like huggable, and like he was very generous. And what happened with him is I didn't feel it after the first date, but I still wanted attention, so I still entertained him. And then after the second date, joke's on me, because he went back to his ex-girlfriend, and then they broke up. And then, well, he went back to another girl, actually, not his ex-girlfriend. He went back to another girlfriend that he had because it was the new shiny thing. And you know how Leo men, think that the grass is greener on the other side once they find a new shiny object, right? Because they're all about glamour, and they can be men that really want the trophy wife just because they themselves will look better. So he went back to her and they broke up, and he came back, but at that point I was like, no. And oh my god, guys, the Virgo man that I dated was so freaking sexy, and there was this sweetness to him, but I knew he was a total player. Like the Virgo man that I dated was like the best kisser ever, and he was very, very I don't know, he was such a playboy though, but there wasn't a lot of substance to him. There was a lot of freakiness to him for sure, because the way that he kissed me was with such passion and demeanor. And they say that the Virgo people are like the virgins, right? Well, and they have this element of purity to them, but beneath it all, beneath all the control and all their neuroticness and all their composure, there is a freaky side to him. And I don't know if it's because I'm a Scorpio and I just brought it out in him, but he was a very freaky guy. And we still talked a little bit, but there wasn't much to it. Like, there was no emotional chemistry. It was all physical. It was very full of lust. And yeah, Virgo men, there's a very kinky side to them, but he was very clean too. I just remember him being very, very clean. Like, his fingernails were clean, everything was his fingernails, but there was a very clean, pristine look to the way that he dressed too. My Libra guy. So I had a crush on a Libra. And the reason I had a crush is because I thought he was flirting with me. Where I worked, we were in training, and he would always like sit next to me, talk to me, give me that little Libra smile, and I was just like, oh, maybe he likes me. So then I started like just investigating him and looking at his demeanor and stuff, and he would even give me such great compliments, like, wow, at your age you've accomplished so much. I mean, mind you, he was like 8 years older than me, but still, he was like young. He was from New York, and he was like but he didn't have the mean New York aggressive accent. He had this very Libra style. The way he dressed was very stylish and very charismatic, but it turns out that I don't know if he was purposely being flirty or whatever, but Libras are known to be charmers and they are known to be flirters. But he actually had a wife and a daughter, which I didn't know nothing about, which I found out through Facebook when I stalked him. And somebody ended up telling him that I liked him, and then I was so embarrassed, and then I just had to let him go, even though he still continued to flirt with me, which was so weird. But obviously I was like, nope, from that point on. So but yeah, Libra men are so flirty. Like, you don't know if they like you. They probably don't even know if they like you, because they're kind of deliberating things. He was probably deliberating, do I really want to leave my wife, or do I really want to start new connections? Like, there was a whole bunch of things he was probably deliberating. So that's what I will say about Libra men. And then Scorpio. So Scorpio so far has been my most traumatic relationship, and my longest relationship thus far. I dated a Scorpio for about 5 years, on and off though, and he was a psychopath. He was a sociopath. He was narcissistic. This Scorpio guy I dated he had a charisma and charm for sure. He was funny, and he was a magnet. Scorpios are a magnet, so they know how to attract people, but they're very manipulative. This guy somehow made me pay for all of our dates because he said that he wanted to make sure I wasn't some gold digger. So he wanted to put me through a series of tests, which I believe that they were tests because Scorpios are very suspicious of people. So okay, I get that. But he also cheated on me a million times, and I think it's because there's this deep, dark fear that he had of betrayal. So every time he would think he was falling in love with me, he would try to stop it by cheating on me with 20 fucking different girls. And then the other thing is that he was very, very controlling. He made me delete all of my guy friends on Facebook, all of my guy contacts, and you know, nothing to do, I'm not flirty or anything like that, but he just wanted that for his own security. Like my high school friends or the people that I just met, the guys that I just, my coworkers that had wives and had girlfriends, like he made me delete those people. And yeah, he was, he also hated when I would vent to my girlfriends about our situation, because he manipulated me in a way that was, he was like, well, it's only gonna make you look worse. And then he would never cry or show any of his emotions, like, and I couldn't get a reaction out of him. So I cried, I banged my head on the wall, I pretended like I fainted, and no reaction, nothing. So I really think he was a sociopath, and he said he knew how to observe body language of people and stuff like that. And I don't know, he was, and plus he was very traditional Mexican, so he was very patriarchal, and that's another story. But that relationship was the most traumatic relationship I had, and it took me forever to get over him, and I'm glad I did. But that was like the I guess the more severe relationship I had. Constant lies, constantly me starting stuff, not him. Typical Scorpio language. So the other thing that but yeah, so that was my Scorpio. And but let me tell you one thing. So far, this, out of all the signs, the sexual experience with a Scorpio was the best, because it was just, there's something about a Scorpio man that keeps the sex kind of very addicting. And they do have a passionate side, they have a freaky side, they have this energetic side, all of that. But yeah, everything else, if you're with a Scorpio man who's very low vibrational, it's going to be a traumatic experience. So let's talk about my Sagittarius guy. So the Sagittarius guy that I dated, I met in college in a psychology class, and we would always kind of like eye each other, but like never made any moves. I don't know why. I just always like looked forward to going to class to see him and his smile and his grin. And then we ended up having a group project together, because you know we have group projects in college, and we had to exchange numbers, right, so we can keep on track of this group project. And yeah, we did that, we worked together, and he would always kind of like flirt with me, but in a low-key way. And I was like, I think I was very assertive, because in groups I'm always the leader. I'm always like, okay, you're gonna do this, this is the plan, make sure you text me when this is done, etc, etc. And he kind of maybe liked that about me. But anyways, then a year passed, and like we, you know, went off our ways. And then he texted me randomly, and he's like, how have you been, blah blah blah. And then he's like, well, we always had some unspoken chemistry, and we went out on a date. And he was really funny. He took me to play basketball, because that was like his thing. But what's up with like fire signs in sports? Like literally every fire sign I've ever like been with wanted to engage in a sport. Like the Leo guy played soccer, and this guy played basketball. He wanted to take me to shoot hoops. And then we went to get pizza, and there was something very blunt about him, to the point that it was rude. So I was kind of turned off by it, because I was very like, I'm very 7th house. Obviously I think that there are other things in his chart, but anyways, then I broke up with him, and I was like, you know, I think we should just be friends. And I really broke his heart and made him disappointed in himself, because I guess he shooted his shot and didn't make it. So that's very disappointing for a Sagittarius competitive ass man. But yeah, anyways, now he's in the military too, and I have a thing apparently for military guys. So then the other guy that I dated I didn't date him, but he was actually my manager. And this is a Capricorn. And I always had a crush on him, because he was a very motivational speaker. and like he never knew, right? But like I always admired that about him and fantasized about him because he was very stern but very funny, but laid the law down, but was very inspiring, very like he walked with a powerful Capricorn demeanor. Even though he was kind of short, he still walked like he was one of the big guys, and that was something that I really liked about him. But he was the kind of person that you couldn't bullshit with. Like he didn't let you vent, he didn't let you, no excuses with him, because excuses were wasting time. So if you're looking for somebody who's going to coddle you and be compassionate, it's probably not a Capricorn man. And us women need to be like heard, right? We need to feel heard and validated and understood, and I don't think we can do that with Capricorn men unless maybe they have like a moon in Pisces or a moon in, I don't know, moon conjunct Neptune, right? But anyways, he actually even was the type of guy that he would tell me that he would help his girlfriends start their businesses. So that was really attractive. Like he invested money and time into building his girlfriends, you know? So that's the type of man I think that you would get if you're dating somebody with a heavy emphasis in Capricorn. Okay, so my first like official boyfriend was an Aquarius, and I met him at a party outside of the club. He was very like, you know, he came up to me, he was very suave. But I remember when I would have a lot of phone conversations with this Aquarius guy, and they sometimes got kind of dull, or he sometimes tried to school me, and it would kind of get a little bit boring. But what I will, and he was like low-key freaky. Like there was something really unusual about him, what I will say, with this Aquarius guy, because he kept a lot of like secrets from me, or he kept a lot of things to himself. I never could figure him out. Like he wouldn't even tell me his real name, and I know that's weird because considering he was my first real boyfriend, but there was like something really unusual. He would always tell me the weirdest stories about his friends. So, you know, Aquarius is known for being the black sheep, for being quite unusual, and he was very detached in the sense that he would give me a compliment, but it didn't. I want to tell you about the Pisces guy I dated. The Pisces guy I dated was like your typical Pisces guy. He actually smoked a lot of weed. He was very artistic. He was very into making his own music, and that was his dream. But obviously, being the blunt Sagittarius Aries bitch that I am, I was like, are you sure that's what you can do with your life? Like, you know, and I kind of like, I guess, killed his dream a little bit because I feel like I'm a mean person. But he was very sweet. He was very patient with me. He's like, I don't want to move too fast with you because I really, really like you, Diana, blah, blah, blah. And he wanted to do all these sexual things with me that involved food, which was interesting, but I think that that's because his moon is in Taurus or something. But anyways, he took me to a Too Short concert, and he was very into like rapping and music and dedicated songs to me. So he was a really sweet guy, but on practical level, because I'm somebody who kind of does need a man that's powerful and career oriented, I felt like he lacked that. So I stopped talking to him, and I crushed his heart, and yeah, that was my dating experience with a Pisces. But anyways, I hope I didn't miss any signs. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you resonated with my story times and stuff like that. Let me know if you guys have any questions, and you guys have a great day. If you want to book a reading, go to my website, oneloveastrology.com. Bye.